The question hangs in the air. Should Shen Yu marry Chu Ling? Jun Su Onshou can't believe his ears. Chu Ling must have made his move. He turned to the side to hide his contempt for Shen Yu. He remembered the last time he confronted Chu Ling, who confidently stated that Jun Su Onshou fears losing Shen Yu as he might fall for Chu Ling. Jun